We've had a few people ask us if we can maybe explain a wee bit about how we've ended up at this farm and a wee bit of a story behind us and the farm, how we farm and what we do. So well, hello there and welcome to another episode of Hodge Farm Life 5. It's myself in the hot seat today. Gemma's asked me to do this video and I was trying to do it last night when I was drawing lambs, but I thought I made quite a good job of it, but then when I played it back it was a bit stop-start and the lambs were a bit noisy, so I thought I would do it again tonight. We've had a few people ask us if we can maybe explain a wee bit about how we've ended up at this farm and a wee bit of a story behind us and the farm. So I thought I would do that tonight and take it back to the start. So obviously, like everybody, I was at school. I left school. I worked at home on the farm. Also had a couple other jobs doing different things, but at that point, my main priority, maybe even an obsession you could call it, was doing my quad motocross. It was a wee bit like racing a farm quad on steroids. And I thought at one point I could have maybe made a wee bit of a living at it, but anytime I seemed to be going fast enough, I maybe crashed and broke a few too many bones. So after I broke my wrist and then I broke my knee not long after, I phoned my mum and asked her if it would be okay if I came back to the family farm. At that point we had a farm that was around 200 acre. My dad also had a haulage business and my mum done different jobs and also done bed and breakfast. Unfortunately the farm at 200 acre, it wasn't just good enough ground to be like self-sustainable, the farm. So my dad's priority was always his haulage business, and my mum maybe sort of got left to run the farm the most anyway, and then myself, my sisters and my dad and mum would always help and keep the farm running when it was busy. So the farm was initially bought by my grandfather had one farm, and then when my dad and his brothers were growing up they bought another 2 farms. So they had 3 farms, and then my dad ended up with this farm that we had. As I said, he had his haulage business, he hauled straw, and then he moved on to hauling machines like heavy haulage, and in later years, in the last wee while, he's hauled stone out a quarry, out my uncle's quarry, and that's what he still does now. So the farm at 200 acre, when I moved home, we bought all our replacement stock in. We bought gimmers in, either to go to the top in the autumn or we bought in-lamb gimmers. We also bought either bull and heifers or mostly in-calf heifers, and we just had Charlie bulls, so everything got sold off farm. And I met Gemma when I was 21. Then we started looking at some ground to rent. So we rented some ground that was, I think it was about 10 minutes drive away. And with that, we were able to build our stock numbers up to about 450 to 500 sheep and about 60 to 70 cows. Then we decided that really to push things on and progress in life, and we would try and buy a farm. So we went away and looked at our first farm when I was 24. At that point, it was probably more as a dream as anything else. I don't know if it was ever really going to happen. I always remember the very first farm we looked at was down at Castle Douglas. So we never offered for it. We looked at several farms since, and we offered for 3 or 4, but we were never fortunate enough to get any of our offers accepted. So when I was 30 years old, we put an advert in the Scottish Farmer, which was a weekly newspaper. This advert was about £80, and I thought it was probably the biggest waste of £80 we're ever going to spend. But no, 2 or 3 weeks later we had a phone call, a farm that could possibly be for sale. I knew where the farm was, but I never knew anything about it, and it was only about 20 minutes drive from us, just up the motorway really. And yeah, we came for a look and basically immediately just fell in love with the place. It's 400 acre. There's an extra cottage with the farm, 3 small wind turbines. Yeah, they're pretty small. They're only 15 kilowatt each, but they work away quite well. We bought them, the previous owner, he installed them, and we bought them on top of the farm. They work away okay. They cost a wee bit of money to keep them running and servicing them, but yeah, they help a wee bit to pay the mortgage. They can't completely pay the mortgage themselves, but they're not far away. We get an extra premium on the price just now, a feed-in tariff for the electricity we sell. We'll get that paid for another 6 or 7 years, and once that stops, all the electricity will be exported, and I don't know if it will justify keeping them running at that point, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes. Unfortunately, they're certainly not printing money like all the big turbines are, but they're a good asset to the farm all the same. And a mixture of modern farm buildings like these buildings we're in just now, and some traditional buildings. So fortunately we were able to make a deal on the farm, and we got it bought. I was actually 31 by this point, and we moved here on the 10th of March 2017. Since then, land prices have risen up quite dramatically, so I quite often ask myself, if we never bought here, there could have been a good chance we would have still been at our old farm, but I guess we'll never know. All the land round about our old farm, it was either owned by family or it was owned by an estate, so I don't think we would ever been able to expand our old farm, but it was hard at the time, probably more so for my family, selling the family farm that had been in the family for a long time. But yeah, moved here in 2017, and since then Gemma and I have had 3 children. They are now 7, 4 and 3. A couple of years after we moved, we were able to buy a cottage that sat down the farm road, and Mum and Dad have moved down there. My dad still has his haulage business, so Dad's like what you call an owner-driver. He has a couple of spare lorries that he brings self-employed drivers in when he's busy, but I wouldn't want anybody to think that he's got a huge business like of Eddie Stober and that's what's funding the farm. They're two separate businesses, although my dad does help me days like at silage time, and either Mum and Dad sometimes help when we've got busy days with cattle or contractors in, like of clipping sheep, dipping sheep. Everybody gives us a hand, which is good. Now that our children are getting a bit older, Gemma doesn't work full time in a beauty salon in her own beauty salon anymore. She is able to help us a lot more as well, and my mum works a wee bit more at a local cafe as well. So it's fairly self-explanatory, I guess. First and foremost, the farm needs to pay. We need to pay the mortgage, and we need to everything else that the farm makes, we reinvest into the farm. I was extremely lucky that one of my uncles bought our old farm. Without him, I don't know if it would have ever happened, if we were ever going to be able to sell one farm on the open market and buy another one. it just took all that stress away, that on-call. We knew that he was buying the farm, so that was a huge help for us at the time. But it's not as if we sold one farm at 200 acre and bought another farm at 400 acre. Our mortgage is more as what we sold our old farm for. So yeah, it'll take a while to pay for everything off anyway. We do work extremely hard like all farmers do, but we've also had a lot of luck to be able to do this, and the luck completely outweighs how hard we work. Yeah, 100%. There's no way, without the luck, there's no way we would have here, no matter how hard you ever worked. I have a wee saying that I have to tell myself from time to time: we don't have everything that we want today or tomorrow, but have absolutely everything and more as we ever could have dreamed of having 10 years ago. I think we just want to keep on making small improvements to the farm and make it the best version of itself it can be. So now I've probably slavered on enough here. I'll just explain what we do at the farm quickly and explain a wee bit about how we farm and what we do. So as I say, we've got 399 acre. It's all in grass, apart from we've got one field of brassica, but I don't know if that's going to be that successful. Some of the better fields in the farm would be capable of growing crops, barley or maybe even wheat, but we've never done that, and I think if we were to do that, we would need to try and either cut our cow numbers or sheep numbers down a wee bit so we had the space to do that. So as it is just now, we buy all our feeder in and just try and make the best silage and haylage we can. So we have about 110 cows, most of them calve in the sort of spring and into the summer. I think we have 78 in calve just now to calve. Well, the first batch will calve the end of February, and then we'll have a break and we'll start lambing, and then we'll start calving again. But going forward with this new shed that we're putting out the back here, we're hoping to try and tighten calving up a bit. Nearly every single one of our cows is homebred. We do have a few cows still that have moved from our old farm with us, like this older girl here. We'll also have a few calves like this black one. We've bought her in as a foster calf from a neighbouring dairy, and then we've kept her from then. And I have cheated a wee bit that some of our regular viewers will see. A couple of years ago, we bought some calves from the neighbouring dairy, and we've reared them up, and now we've got 12 of them in calve to calve this year too. I still have a problem with my lights in here. So our cows are a mixture of Simmental and Shorthorn crosses. We've recently introduced a Solaires bull as well. We also have 46 cows to the bull just now to calve next autumn. That'll be most of them they'll start calving the end of August. Most will hopefully calve in September. And then on to the sheep. So we have just under 800 sheep away to the top this year. Every single one of our sheep is homebred. We try and lamb as many of them as we can as hogs. I think there's 186 hogs away to the top this year. They are a mixture of Texel, Suffolk and Blue Domain crosses, and we just try and crisscross them back and forward and keep the majority of our young lambs. I should have said that nearly all our cattle, if we're not keeping them for heifers as replacements, they get sold at stores. mostly just around a year old. We sell store cattle 3 times a year, January, then the spring, sort of April time, and then in October. So most of these calves here that are born just now, they'll mostly get sold in October unless they get kept for breeding, although some of the ones that are not big enough to sell in October, they will get kept and sold in January. And all our lambs go as prime lambs. The vast majority of them go direct to the abattoir. The one that I was at today, and they seem to work away okay. The yows go, most of our yows just go into our local market. That's what we do. So our old farm never had any slats on it, so it was a bit of a change when we had all these slats, and since we've moved, we got government funding and we put slat mats down for them. These are the bullocks here that will get sold in January, and a few heifers that are not suitable for breeding will get picked out of this lot. The rest, other heifers in here, will go to the bull at turnout. These heifers here are all picked out to go to the bull at turnout, all these ones, and there's a few in here that will also go to the bull at turnout. Some of the bigger ones, this one and this one, and they'll be calving at 24 months old, whereas most of them calve at 30 months old. These are just a wee batch of Solaire's bullocks. I'll just nip down to another shed quickly. We've had I think a lot of bits in Scotland and maybe Northern England have had a serious amount of snow. Luckily we've missed the majority of the snow, but what snow we have had, and now it's all got compacted into the stead in here, and I think it's been minus all day today. I think it's about -5 degrees just now. Have to watch you don't fall on your bum. These are our dairy bred heifers that I was saying are in calve, and our homebred heifers that are also in calve. This is also a slatted shed. There's no rubber down here for these, and the slats are really wide. They're concrete sleepers, so the cattle do tend to get a bit dirty in here. I'll need to try and get them out as soon as. A few heifers in here with the Solaire's bull. The Solaire's has the smallest calves, so we'll try and put the heifers all to him just now. And then here's our last batch of cattle in calve, second calvers, and a few in calve cows here. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that. It's very hard for me to do the YouTube channel without, I don't want people to think that we're just blowing on or I'm trying to educate people, but I think it was quite nice just to try and explain how lucky we've been, how we've got here, and yeah, we've certainly had a lot of luck to get to this farm that we're at just now, and we have no intentions to ever move again. Okay, cheers.